There we go. We've got James looking down. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another weekly live chat with Wargamer Online. Today we have a new guest. This is James from Without Clue Wargaming.
Hello.
We have, as always, Mr. Phil.
Hello.
And we have Mike.
Hello, everyone.
Mr. Mike, I want to say, but Mike is there. Now,
I like Mr. Mike. We'll go with that.
Mr. Mike. It's better than a clan rat, isn't it?
Definitely better than the clan rat.
Right, let's get straight into it. We're going to start with a hobby update, then we're going to go on to Sigmar Showdown pictures from the community page, and then we're going to do a bunch of topics. If anybody has anything they want to say, chuck it in the chat. We'll go through that whenever we can as well. And we'll try and take breaks so we can go through. Before that, we're just going to go through and see who is joining us from the beginning. We have Underdog Painting, Mr. Cragam Gaming, KRLDA6. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. You can let me know how that's done. Steve Forrest, Matthias. And that is it for now. We've got some others watching, but jump in the chat whenever you feel like it. So to begin with, we'll do the hobby update. What have you been up to this week, James?
I've been building what's behind me.
Elijo.
I'm working on my Demos Predators at the minute. I've got a game with Emperor's Path next weekend, and I'm just trying to get as much built as I can. I haven't touched the Mastodon yet, but
yeah, it's a scary one.
Yeah, I haven't even opened it yet.
Well, we're going to go. Two of the topics we're going to go through tonight is one of them's going to be about the Mastodon, and one of them will be about how things get built so quickly and painted so quickly by yourself. So we'll go into that. But I know that there's a lot of hobby happening from you, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Michelangelo, Mr. Mike, what have you been doing?
Right, I've finally finished building that Test of Honor box, so that's all done now. And then, because I was building with that, I thought I might as well get on with building some more of my Skaven units needs to be done. So I've managed to smash all them out, and then it's now just getting back to painting them to hopefully get them done for some battle reports.
How did you find Test of Honor to build?
Tricky at times, but overall it wasn't too bad. There's some of the weapons are a bit flimsy and thin, so you have to go careful with them, but overall wasn't too bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's been a lot of people complaining about not complexity, but just how difficult they go together.
Yeah, there's at times where you've got some weapons where they don't line up perfectly with the hands, so you have to play around with it a bit.
Yeah,
but they look awesome once you have got them built.
Okay, that's cool. And Phil, what have you been doing?
Sigmar Showdown. Pretty much. Oh, there goes my little flying Zeech heaven. Yes, so I've been working on my wonderful Zeechy Sigmar Showdown model, which I've had lots of fun with, actually. I've really enjoyed it. Because it's a while since I've done a proper hack and chop and green stuff conversion stuff, so it was just good fun to do. And it's primed at the moment, ready for painting. Need to have a little think about what I'm going to do with the painting. I've not decided yet. Other than that, as ever, we've been working on the website. Did a few videos, shot a few videos, a bit of editing, but from a hobby perspective, Sigmar Showdown, I think that's about it. I haven't even done one of my doors, Sam. Not a single Zone Mortalis door this week.
Which is a big thing to you, because you love making doors.
Yes, love is what it is. That you have to love those doors to make 34 of them.
Yes, definitely, and make all the different variants. Well, that's pretty much the same as me. I've been doing website stuff. Sigmar Showdown, I've been doing my little model for that, which will actually, you know what? I haven't even got a picture of my own Sigmar Showdown for the next bit, but it's all over the Facebook group. But I've been doing that. It's pretty much Sigmar Showdown. Let's go straight on to Sigmar Showdown, I think. So there's a bunch of people in the Wargamer Online community group on Facebook. If you're not on there already, just search for it in the top of Facebook and you can join, just apply, and then we'll accept you. And a load of people are putting their models on there, which is quite nice. And we're just going to go through some of the pictures. So we'll start with Jack's. Oh, hang on a minute. Let's check this out. Sigmar Showdown. Get that text on there. So Jack, Phil's son, has done a Crypt Ghoul King. I didn't tell him I was going to put this up because he hasn't done much to it. But he's been doing this.
It's conceptual at this stage, isn't it? It was just the idea of a flying Crypt Ghoul King, which I think works really well thematically with the army, because you do have the crypt horrors and I can't remember the name of them now. The sort of winged ones, but so I think that he's got some plans for that. I think that's going to turn out really well.
Yeah, definitely, it's good. So that's just another one I took up there. We have Spud's Warband. Spud's decided he's done a video on this already, so head on over to the Wargamer Vikings page to see what he's been working on. And instead of working on an individual model, he's done a warband, and he's done 3 different models for that. And I just realised that for some reason isn't. There we go. They're not all in view. Let's just minimise it a little bit. There we go. So he's got a rifleman.
Space Wolf head.
He's got a Space Wolf head on what looks like some sort of goblin. I'm not sure what legs they are. They look like goblin legs. He's Retributor character that he's turned into as much of a Space Marine as possible. And he's got his rifleman, the Scion.
That's a Scion with a Skitari. Yeah.
A flintlock-looking
cool.
rifle. We've got Kiblams joining the chat, as well as Rob Norton. Hello to both of you. Thank you for joining us. We're just going through some Sigmar Showdown stuff. Right, who have we got next? We've got James's. So this is James in the chat, his model. Have you done any more to this since?
I have literally just done the base coats and that's it.
Yeah.
I've been busy building all the resin behind me at the minute, so...
it's looking nice, though. I just like the idea of this thing jumping on its back and crawling away like a spider.
There's a cartoon where it happens like that. I can't remember what it is, though.
I don't know, but you need to find it now. Now you've said it.
It's definitely got that creepy look to it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So, but that's a mixture of a plague drone, the plague king. Is it plague king? I don't really know my Sigmar.
Yeah, Blight King.
Blight king, and also just a Nurgling base.
Yeah. It's as nurgly as you can get.
Yeah.
Awesome
I love
stuff.
it. I think it's fantastic. It's a great model.
It's going to be oozing and everything, so it's going to be...
A very persuasive action there to get it on the 40mm base so it was fitting the rules of the competition as well.
I had to heat the legs up and bend them round and everything.
Yeah, I can see that now. I just brought it back up again. Right, we've got Liam's. Now, Liam's been working on this, but he doesn't post too much to the page. He's kind of chopped a little bits up now and just stuck them together, so well done, Liam, on that. Then the main thing about this is that everyone's just getting their hobby juices flowing, cutting up pieces, sticking them to a model and making some sort of unique character. So
I still need to start mine.
You need to get on with it. It's just
no.
We've still got plenty of time. It doesn't end until the 6th of May, so if anybody does want to join in with this, just jump on board.
3 weeks. 3 weeks? Yeah, 3 weeks.
Something like that. I mean, in 2 days, and I'd already built and converted mine, and it's ready to be painted now. So I was on it straight away. Spud's obviously onto his 3rd character in the warband, and you've done your base coats and your wash within a couple of days as well. I know Kiblams, he's done. Actually, we'll go on to what have we got next?
Craig's is awesome. I love it.
We'll go on to Kiblams. Where is Kiblams? Why is he not here? Oh, it's because there's 2 Craigs. You know what? I'm going to have to sort this out. Let's put up this one for the moment and we'll switch over in a sec. So we've got, this is Craig's as well. This is the other Craig. So he's done a Nurgly Slanesh conversion.
It's looking good, this. It's looking good. It's really interesting. I think it's...
is that a metal body on it as well, isn't it?
Yeah, he's old school. But I think it's looking interesting, isn't it? It's going to look quite interesting on the board as well. Something that's really tall and sort of slender, and then this weird little beast hanging out the top of it. I like it. It's good.
All right.
That's cool.
Check this out. This is how unprepared I am. There we go. Look at this. Oof. All right. This is Kiblams. Now. It's just ridiculously good. I love it. I'm in love with it.
Yeah, same here.
It's taken up the whole screen now. We've got rid of our frame. Kiblams.
So good.
It's the Smegway.
The Smegway.
It's awesome. I love the little harnesses around the rats that he's done, and just the plastic. You know, from the beginning, he was like, "Oh, I'm not into Age of Sigmar," and it's like, look at the plastic artwork. You can make this look amazing. You're definitely going to have some really cool looking conversion here, and obviously,
I want to see an army of Smegways.
Oh yeah.
It's posted
that'd be awesome.
You know,
posted this up on one of the Sigmar fan groups, and instantly got loads of people going, "This is amazing!" Yeah. It's just like, you're going to have to do Age of Sigmar now. You've just got a fan base straight away, so you just got to push on with that.
What's the giant rat thing? The circle, the Doom Wheel, is it?
Doom Wheel, yeah.
It could do a bigger version and count it as that. A giant version, yeah. So excellent job on that one, Craig. Then we have Phil's, which is, I'm in love with this thing. It's incredible.
Yeah, I saw this earlier. I really like this as well.
Properly chopped up, amazing conversions, green stuff. There's more pictures on the Facebook group, so just head on over to there if you want to see all the different angles. He's done a spinny video like he does always anyway. But he's got a nice little Zinchi looking dagger, the book. He's sculpted breasts. You know, it's brilliant. And obviously flappy wings.
I have to say, to my defence, of course, because I don't want to get into that. Does armor plate have breasts on? If you know what I mean. I was understated on that. I've sort of boosted that area, but I haven't gone crazy on it. So I just wanted it to like I say, portray female gender. Really was what I was trying to get across. So I haven't gone nuts on it, but I've got enough for you to recognise. Whatever this creature is now, it was once a sort of female sorcerer, and it's kind of gone in that direction. The other thing I did to harken back to the original model, and you can't quite tell it from that angle, is the head of the original model is now the head of the staff.
Yeah.
And I quite like that. And I have tweaked it a bit, actually. I've changed the angle of it so it's more recognisable now.
And she's got a disc as well, which is worth going on the Facebook page just to see the disc, and when it's fully painted it's going to look stunning. We'll do updates on this every week, so the more people get involved, the more we're going to showcase. Krilda's, or I'm just going to say Krilda, where did he get the wings? The wings are from a Dark Eldar. What were they from?
Scourge, isn't it? Yeah, the Scourge. The Dark Eldar Scourge. I've actually trimmed off the little wires and stuff now as well. They've been lost, and the feathers sculpted. It's interesting, isn't it? Because one of the things that that introduced the idea of using the Dark Eldar bits is because the actual original models quite Dark Eldar-y, and you sort of said to me, how much of that is the Dark Eldar model? And actually, and you asked me that at the point where the wings weren't even on or the head wasn't on. So the only thing there was the legs.
Yeah.
And the rest is just the standard models, but there's a lot of similar aesthetic carryover. So my only worry is, and I think you were trying to subtly hint this to me, is it looks a little bit too much Dark Eldar-y. So I'm hoping that a blue and gold paint scheme will take me away from that.
Yeah, and the dagger, the book, the staff, it all blends. It's, and obviously the disc, which is going to be flying around on, it's all going to influence the eye towards each. I've done the same wings on mine. I'm not gonna do a full thing. I'm gonna try and put them in front of the camera. Da-na-na-na. Really amazing quality photo there, but mine's like an angel of death, and I've got a really cool story for why he's got like black angel wings and a scythe and everything else. But I've just started painting him.
Do you mean that's all we're getting of your model? You're literally just going to hold it?
Yeah. And you know what? I've only properly started painting his right leg, his right foot.
The model that starts it all, we just get like a quick sneak preview up in the top of the screen. Like that. That's it, guys. Move on.
Move on. Right, let's go on to Alex.
It's looking beautiful though. Is that gloss effect intentional, Sam?
Don't bring this up. Yeah, it was intentional.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
I picked the Agrax gloss. It's going to get fixed. We've got Alex Phillips, Death Questor, Sigmar, Eternal, Stormcast. They've got so many titles. They're like Khaleesi from Game of Thrones. So this
I love the little shield. That's awesome.
Yeah. Empire, Free Guild shield. He's made this model, and he's done a cool backstory for him as well on the basis. He's like an old school dwarf slayer where he just wants to kill something massive. He's trying to get himself killed, pretty much fighting the biggest, nastiest thing, and he wants to basically do that. But when he dies, he gets to come back because it's Stormcast Eternal. So that's really cool. I like the background story, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else he does with this. So,
I love it. I think it looks great.
Looks like something out of a Roman Colosseum, like Gladiator.
Yeah.
Giant skull on top of a head with some horns sticking out of it. You definitely wouldn't pick a fight with it.
Yeah, it's got a Minotaur feel to it with those horns, hasn't it? It's really good. I really like it.
Definitely. Oh, brilliant. We've got more people in as well. We've got Frost and Fists, Lord Tattoo, Arton, Hi in Russia. We've got Russians. Hello. That's brilliant. Mythos. Mythos is joining as well. He's got I think he might even be doing a Stormcast. I'm not sure, but I'm sure I saw him talking to somebody about Stormcast. So we're interested to see what Mythos brings to the Stormcast, to the Sigmar Showdown.
That'd be cool.
We've got one more. This is John Hopkins Saurus, which doesn't fill the screen, so we get to see James at the same time, which isn't a bad thing. Let's move this across for it. So John Hopkins done a Saurus. He's also been painting a Carnosaur at the same time. So he's on a very much Seraphon marathon at the moment. And this is from his spare
That's
bit.
awesome. I like that.
So that's going to be cool when it's finished. I like the posing. I like it when people repose models, and it's
Yeah.
quite daunting at first. You know, when you get a model, you don't want to mess with the way that the arms go together. You might glue them in a different position, but not many people chop them up and reposition them that way. And as soon as you do that, it opens up a whole new level of converting.
Yeah, it's looking good. That I think it's. Oh, hold on a minute. Can I get? Hello, can I get on there?
Yeah, sit on the other side of the screen.
Over there. No, it's looking good. Like you say, repose model. It's amazing how much of a difference.
Serathon, you may say. Seraphon. A Serathon. I get it. Yeah, I'm really slow. I always strike last. That's my special rule. So we'll delete that. Right, that's it for those. Now, oh God, look at this. What are we on to now? That's all of Sigmar Showdown. Again, if anybody would like to if anybody would like to join, feel free to head on over to the Facebook page or just do some videos with what you've done. That is awesome. Arton says Russia is watching you too. Always. I wouldn't expect anything less, Arton. Right, let's move on to topics. Zombie yep. Sam. Thanks, Steve. Yes, I am a zombie. I look like a zombie. I am hideous. What is our first topic? Why is the Mastodon so pretty? Now, this is from James. We've got 2 questions from James. And you were just struggling with what you were wanting to buy, weren't you, from Forge World? And you asked everybody.
I was. Literally, it was between a glaive, a blade, a typhon, a Cerebus, basically all the big stuff. Even a warhound. And in the end, I come in with a Mastodon.
I've only just realised that you said it with as glaive, blade, the storm sword. I've only just realised they're all weapons with something at the front of it.
Oh, they are, aren't they? Yeah.
Axe. Is there
Seriously.
one with axe at the end of it?
Yeah.
What is it? Storm axe?
Bane axe.
Bane axe.
The Bane axe. I think it is Bane axe, yeah.
I really like that. I like how the Tau have got a similar thing. They're all named after fish, aren't they? Or sharks and things. Like they've got mantas and tetras and I can't name anymore, but they've got similar sort of thing. Battlesuit, the battlesuit fish. All right, back onto the topic. Mastodons. I've got a picture here. I wasn't going to do it, but I've got a picture. So we've got an unpainted one. So people, if you haven't seen what this is, it's an absolute beautiful beast of a tank.
It's a giant rhino, basically.
Giant Spartan. I think rhino is an understatement.
Well, it looks like a Spartan is mounting a rhino.
Yeah, mixed with some sort of Thunderhawk, or I don't know. It's just massive. It's beautiful.
Oh, it's such a nice model.
It's
just stunning. It's absolutely stunning, isn't it?
Get rid of that. Yeah, let's look at Phil. That's another stunning masterpiece. Let's move to the painted Mastodon. Now, the painted one just shows the scale of it because you've got the Marine stood next to it. What are you feeling at the minute in terms of building this, James?
I am dreading it. It's the first big kit I've built. Apart from I've built a Spartan and a Typhon. They're the biggest kits I've built so far, apart from Imperial Knights. But this is another level.
Yeah, and I struggle with resin kits because as much as I like chopping up miniatures and individual models, tanks scare me. And when it comes to proper model building, because that's what I see it as, I'm really bad at it. And I let Phil do all of my really difficult building. And I just kind of shuffle over to his and say, Phil, would you be able to just build this for me, please? And
I can't help it. It always starts with me saying, I'll just tell you this bit because it needs straightening and we'll warm it up and get some water on it and straighten it out a bit, those kind of things. And then like 2 hours later, it's like, there you go, Sam, it's done. you can't stop once you start on those things, can you?
I'm not like with my painting.
It's like Pringles.
You can't stop but help like Pringles. That's brilliant. Okay. I mean, it's a brilliant model. I definitely need one, but for me, they only fit with certain heresy armies. Like,
yeah,
I want one for my wolves. You've got it for your Iron Hands.
Yeah, I got it because it's killable in games. Most battle reports you see, it dies. So it's like a Lord of War, but it's not overly powered. If you get what I mean. So it's As I said, it's a big rhino with some guns on, basically. So
It's definitely my favourite. Out of if I had the same sort of choice, I could buy an equivalent priced forged model. I would pick the Mastodon every time.
yeah, definitely.
The only
I
other
want
things that
another one.
I would buy before that would be things like the fantasy models, the Bloodthirster. We were checking last week, weren't we, Phil? Just looking around the Forge shop at Warhammer World, and in the cabinets, they've got all of the greater demons, and they're the only other ones where I think, yeah, I would want them before anything else. Oh, no. Rachel's joined the chat.
Don't ban her again.
Oh dear.
Oh, God. Yeah, don't ban her, because she'll just end up running. She'll end up running into the room while the camera's on this time. Yeah, okay, right. Let's go on. Someone's got a bike.
That's not me.
Oh, it's me. I live next to the motorway.
I can't blame Phil for something. That's a shame.
I literally live about 20 yards from the M2.
Good luck, guys, from Russia. Cheers, Arton. Thank you for joining. Right, let's go on to the second topic. Now, this one's from Dan Lavin, and he has asked, what is our favourite old school classic game? So not the main games, but what GW called their specialist game. So it's GW stuff, anything like Necromunda, Battlefleet Gothic, Mordheim, etc. So we're going to start with... I want to start with Phil, because he's seen them all. Phil, tell us what it was like in specialist games times.
Well, back in those days, most of the artwork was black and white, of course. So it was before the age of mobile phones.
Before the age of Sigmar.
Before the age of Sigmar. Specialist games back then. I mean, believe it or not, I started on Warhammer Fantasy First Edition, Second Edition, and kind of halfway through Third Edition is where I took my extended hobby break. So the only thing around at that time that I can remember, and that doesn't necessarily mean it didn't exist, was Space Hulk. I had the very first Space Hulk edition with the Tyranids that look a bit like boiled eggs on cocktail sticks. They were just the Tyranid warriors were just the weirdest looking model ever, and I remember at the time thinking they looked so cool. But recently I dug them out the loft and compared them obviously to the new Tyranid models, and it was just like, yeah, that was interesting. Very insectoid. Space Hulk, I did enjoy it. First edition, a lot of fun. And it also, you know, I think if I remember rightly, it was about the first opportunity I had to use the models in any other context than the specialist game.
Yeah, that's cool. We've got a few answers here. We've got a few people chatting in. So we've got Steve saying Warhammer Quest or Mordheim. Lord Tattoo's saying to Rachel, don't get banned again. Mr. Cragham, point out his age. Why don't you smooth? I mean, this is the thing. It's not a negative. Having age is not a negative at all. Phil is a veteran of the wargaming hobby and has years of knowledge above most of us. So it's definitely not a bad thing.
I've got models older than Sam. We
Yes.
worked out the other day.
Yeah, quite a lot of them. And to be honest, you bring it up more than me, don't you? You always say, look at this paintbrush, Sam. This is older than you. Oh, look at this paint, Sam. This is older than you.
I don't mind talking about it, to be honest, because I think I've weathered the years so well. I mean, I don't look a day above 25. So.
No. nice backpedaling, Sam, Rachel says.
Are you all right there, Mike? Are you choking?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Just checking.
See, Kablams went the normal route back when models were carved from stone. I mean,
funnily enough, I had a model carved from stone. I used it in a conversion.
John's put, my first rule book was carved on stone tablets. His first army was epic squats.
Oh, cool. I've got about 45, 50 squats in a box.
This is what I mean. He deserves it.
I primed them up and showed Sam, and Sam just looked at me. What are they? I was like, no, they're cool. They're retro cool. He's like, no, they're not. It's like, okay, they're
Are they
not.
made of wood? Lord Tattoo, depends how old Sam is. I could have models older than you. I'm the very young age of 20. So
Young boy.
I look pretty old for my age. No, I'm not 20. I'm a bit older than that.
Don't tell your age, Sam. Don't tell your age.
No, I won't. What else have we got? So, James, what's your favourite specialist game?
Well, I've only been in the hobby 5 years.
Really? Right. Okay. We're going to go into your hobby. We're going on to your hobby secrets in a moment on how you build things and make legions. And you're like, yeah, I've only been doing it for a short period of time.
A legion in a day.
Yeah.
That sounds like a challenge.
Well, if you haven't played before 5 years, did you have a look at any of them?
I looked, like, when I was at school, like somebody brought some models in and they looked fantastic, and I kind of looked into it then, but I never actually got into it.
Yeah.
But if I was to pick one, the one game I would love to play is Epic.
Yeah. And that's supposed to be coming out as a remake with Titanicus next year or end of this year.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
Saying that, in the last White Dwarf, they actually put Adeptus Titanicus, and then in the next White Dwarf, there was nothing in there.
Yeah, they definitely backpedaled there themselves, didn't they?
Yeah, because I was really looking forward to it. Because Epic is a game I've always wanted to play, but nobody around here plays it, so I've never got a chance to even see any of the models. So
I think what they were saying, I can't remember which, it was the last open day we went to, Sam, which wasn't the last open day that's taken place, but they talked about Titanicus there, didn't they? And they said they'd upped the scale of it. I think they've gone up to 8mm rather than the original, if I remember, was I think 5mm. And the reason they said they've moved it up to an 8mm scale is things like the Rhino and the other marine tank that I can't remember the name of now worked better at 8mm scale. They could get a lot of the detail back onto those tanks. So I think that's going to be great because, that makes a Warlord Titan about the size of what a Imperial Knight Titan is now, the plastic kit. So I think that's great. At that scale, that's just going to be fantastic.
that sounds awesome.
We've also, Lord Tattoo says Hero Quest was the bomb 30 years ago.
Forgot about Hero Quest.
Too late.
I'm so old. I can't say it now.
The time's gone.
Okay. Hero Quest. Magnus.
Adrian has joined us. Welcome, Adrian. Thank you for joining. Right then, Michelangelo.
Right, well, for me, I think I'm on the same lines as James, where it's only been about 4 or 5 years I've been in the hobby. So it's going to go back to when I was little, from what I can remember, sneaking into my brother's room, looking on the shelves, and then seeing some colourful little models, and falling in love with it from then. And that was Blood Bowl, I think, and even Hero Quest. Now, the next bit I say might make you cringe. I didn't pick them up and start playing with them. I decided I was going to pick them up and start chewing them instead. So, but that was my first look into things like that. But Blood Bowl was one for me, so that's why I was quite excited when they recently brought it back. So now I'm older and hopefully won't chew the models. I'm going to look at starting that up now.
So you liked Blood Bowl as a kid because they look like food. That's brilliant.
Because they tasted good.
Yeah.
Dusty and paint flavoured.
What would an orc taste like?
Sharp.
Bad.
Sharp. Painful. That's what it tasted like. My favourite was game-wise Necromunda, because that was the only one that I properly played, and I loved the game, and I loved making a little team, which is why I've been so happy with Shadow Wars coming out and being able to do all of that again. But in terms of looks-wise, and what I really wanted to play but never got round to, it was Mordheim, because as far as I knew, it was a similar sort of thing to Necromunda, but with the fantasy world, which I prefer. So, yeah, Mordheim was what I want to do. I'm hoping they re-release it in some form. Well, they have done actually, kind of, with Silver Tower, so that's why I got really excited about that. But Necromunda was the one that I played. We have Mr. Spudicus. Wargamer Viking has joined us. Welcome. Thank you for joining. And we'll have a chat later as well. He's going to join us afterwards.
Hey up, boys.
Hey up, boys. Yeah. We love you too, Spud.
You beautiful northern boy.
I'm not going to repeat what he's just said. He's just added something else.
I've got to say, I just said that last thing before he put the bit about being in the bath.
Yeah. This is the benefit of joining the chats live. You get to see what they actually say that we won't
I've just
read
got a
out.
mental image of a Viking laying in a hot tub.
You hold on to that.
Eating chicken.
Use it for your Sigmar showdown. That's going to be a great model.
Right, let's get on to the next one. We'll go on to... we'll do a quick one, actually, before we get on to James telling us the secrets. We have Torin Spence has asked the best glue for different model materials. So we can quickly go over that. We've got plastic. What do you use for plastic, Phil?
Plastic glue.
Excellent. What do you use for...
What brand? Ooh.
It's going to be a longer one now. Okay, brand-wise.
No. Citadel plastic glue, because mainly because it's accessible, it's easy to get hold of. I always use the thin stuff. I never use the thick stuff. I think it's just small amounts of the thin stuff will do the job. So there is a longer answer to that, isn't there? I'm not a big fan of the thick plastic glue unless you're doing some of the older scenery pieces that don't go together too well. Other than that, I also use Vitabond plastic glue as well. Picked a tub of that up the other day, and that was pretty good. I like it. So. But I'm not overly precious on which plastic glue, to be honest. It's what I can get to at the time.
Yeah, not about the same.
So that's that. Resin. If you're using resin, it's got to be it's got to be super glue. There's a lot of people still buying like plastic glue. It's something that a lot of people do with the fine cast. When you go to Games Workshop, they use plastic glue on fine cast models, not realizing. So if you've got fine cast, you need to use super glue on it, otherwise it won't work.
And there's one point to mention on that is fine cast and to a degree resin will bond like crazy in seconds.
Yeah.
The resin's not far off of, super glue works best on skin above all else, doesn't it? But resin's not far off it on the skin scale of stickiness. It's especially as Steve has just said on the group as well with Activator, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to buy a decent amount of super glue and activate it together, if you go to most trade shops or like building like supplies, you can get this tub of super glue and then this activator for like £5.
Seriously, wow!
And that is 50 grams of super glue. That's quite a lot of super glue.
That hobby tip alone is worth a dozen bottles of glue sent to you free by that supplier.
Every builder's merchant in the country now is going to get hordes of wargamers turning up saying, "Give me your super glue." And
the only thing I will say is it's a bit thicker than normal super glue, so it's perfect for big models. But if you're doing finer models, you'll have to use a thinner super glue.
You know what's really good for resin gluing as well? 18 bags of cement and 30 square meters of paving slabs.
See, I going back to glue, actually, they're the glues that people recommend, but I always get moaned at. Phil always shouts at me because I use super glue on everything. I use super glue on plastic models, and I prefer
I'm the same. I prefer it all round.
Yeah. Go on,
No,
Phil.
I don't get that. I just don't get it.
I'm cringing.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
It's just something I've always done. So Russell Higgins has just joined the chat. Learn to pin. That's the thing. I've pinned this little Sigmar dude that I've been building. Oh, there we go. His wings have been pinned. Both arms are pinned. I just got into the habit of pinning everything and just using super glue, and I don't have an issue with it. So I stick with what I know. We have some more answers in. More people have turned up. More and more. Crazy Hippo. The thick glue I have found to be as great as it takes a bit longer to dry and lets me move parts a bit. Yep. Wargaming Wizard. Hey, how's it going? Thank you for joining. Great super glue tip. Thank you, James, for that one. Adrian,
the other thing is,
yep.
Sorry. Quickly, Activator also makes super glue more brittle as well. So you got to be careful with that.
It makes it what?
True.
It makes it more brittle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does the horrible whiting.
Yeah. So be wary of that as well.
Because we noticed there was obviously you get breakages on your models, and if you quickly super glue them back together again, because plastic glue doesn't always work because you've got paint on the surface. If you super glue a model and then you activate it and you get that horrible white frosting, it can ruin the paint job on a model. So one thing is never use activator on a painted model if you can help it. Frost and Fists. I use super glue on everything. Super glue gel on everything. I've used gel before. I can't remember what brand it is. I got it from like Asda or something, but I'd never got on with the gel. It was like a rubbish super glue for me. Anyway, that was a longer question than I thought it was going to be. No, it's good. We got a good tip out of that one. It was worth. This is why we ask these questions, because other people have better answers.
There is one on the comments as well. Using baking soda, exactly the same like activator. Is using baking soda like activator? I suppose it soaks it up and does. The activator essentially makes it evaporate quicker. So maybe baking soda does a similar thing. It just makes it set quicker. So yeah, probably would do the job.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's get on to, because we definitely want to get 2 of these done, and we're going through fairly slowly. Let's get on to the next one. How do you batch paint armies in no time at all? Who asked this? Which person?
I think it was me.
See, James is asking the question. I don't know why, because he knows the answer. How do you batch paint an army in no time at all? So basically, James is... What was it? Your Iron Hands, I think, was the first one I saw, where you just batched them out in a couple of evenings or something like that.
I think what was it I had done? I had 2 tactical squads, a Leviathan, 2 Rhinos, and a Contemptor done in 2 nights, I think it was.
So what's the secret? While we all shake our heads.
Basically, this little thing.
Yeah.
This stick. These things save you so much time. Also, don't use paper clips. Use cocktail sticks because they're cheaper and you can reuse them more often, I find. What else do I use? Oh, and this thing on the floor. This thing is my #1 piece of equipment. It's my little blow heater.
Blow heater, right?
Yeah. Basically, most of your time is wasted waiting for stuff to dry. So with washes, especially the way I'm doing my Iron Hands, because the whole Iron Hands army is painted solely using washes. So what I do is I stand the model about 3 feet away from the heater on its highest setting, and literally they're dry within about 5 minutes rather than 45 minutes. So
speeds up the process massively then.
Yeah, you're literally cutting hours out of your painting.
Yeah, you can pick up one of those heaters for like, £10.
That was 25 quid from Argos, that one.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I have one on to go all the time.
Yeah, and not only that, I'm in a shed in the garden at the minute, so it gets quite cold, so it adds to the heat as well.
Have you got anything else, Phil? Because you do the similar sort of thing, don't you? I mean, James, do you use an airbrush to get most of your painting done, or is it hand painted with a brush?
Airbrush, base coats, and obviously most people know me for the glow effects and that I do now as well. So I use it for all of those, but that's the last step of the whole process.
Yeah.
Is all the object source lighting and everything else. But an airbrush I do all my base coats with that.
Yeah.
Saves so much time.
I think that's what slows me down, because my process for building and painting an army, I think I've got it down to a speed that I'm happy with, but hand painting a lot of the work is the thing that slows it down for me. And I know when I go around to Phil's and just get him to quickly spray something, it saved me hours of painting with a brush. So I think an airbrush is a massive investment that's well worth it if you're getting armies done, because it gets your base coats down and you've got a big block of your painting out of the way that you can then focus on doing your washes and your highlighting and all your layers after that. But it's not a lot of people kind of shun airbrushing in a way because they go, oh, it's cheating. But it's a whole another skill of learning how to...
It's a tool.
Yeah.
It's a tool in your toolbox. That's all I use it for. I know there's a lot of people out there now that basically like Golden Demon is basically just airbrush models nowadays, which I think takes away a little bit but it's another way of painting and people are just taking advantage of it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I've got the perspective of many years of all of this, and we talked in one of the previous chats, didn't we, about sort of the attitude of gamers back when I was a young man, and asking these fantastic painters, how did you do that technique, how did you manage that? And they go, years of practice, don't go away, and back then I remember that group frowning upon acrylic paints. If you weren't painting with oils, what were you doing? Acrylic paints, they're not proper paints. You can't wet blend an acrylic paint. You needed 5 hours for your oil paints to set so you could do proper wet blending. I think attitudes change over time, don't they? I think right now airbrush is in that. It's in its ascendance. There's a lot of it. You see it everywhere. But like any technique, you see it used well and you see it used poorly. I think it's a real boon. There's two things. I think it helps people with blending. It can be used for that. And I think it also helps get painted armies on the table. And I'm a fan of painted armies. So if I go into a store and I'm seeing a lot more painted armies, I prefer a painted army that's been painted with an airbrush, even at a 4-foot distance, than grey plastic. So
yeah.
And Russell said something there as well, which goes alongside that. He's put the thought that only one who has to be happy with the paint, the only one who has to be happy with the paint job is you, is a critical thought to have in order to finish an army. So with your stuff, Phil, a lot of your armies, you will blitz them, you get them done, and you'll have them ready to play games with. But you don't worry about going to the character level of paint job with every single model, which is what I try and do. I try and do layers on everything that I can. But your armies are done so quickly and they still look fantastic on the table, and that's your style of painting. You're happy with it. So
yeah, it's a perception of scale. I paint the army as a whole. So I think, what is this entire army going to look like when it's all on the board? But you do that at the sacrifice of the individual model. But, if you look at the Sylvaneth thing that went up, obviously Alariel put up a lot of attention in it. I mean, the entire army was, Sam joked about it, but the entire army was painted in a week, and it was 3,000 points of Sylvaneth. So the showcase doesn't show all of the army at all, but it just gave you a kind of one of each unit type, I think. But the Alariel, of that week, Alariel took 3 days. So, it was just putting the time into that main model. Because at the end of the day, when people look at the army, that model is so dominant of the army. It's, the old adage of faces and bases. With the Sylvaneth army, it's Alariel and Alariel. Everybody's eye just gets drawn to that.
Yeah, you could put anything. You could put some goblins in that army and no one will know.
Yeah.
They're all talking about in the chat about getting Rachel to paint again.
Get Rachel to paint.
We've got
Hashtag get Rach to paint, I think.
We have got Kilder 6. I'm going to go with Kilder 6. Oh, maybe you could do a phonetic pronunciation of your name if that'd be really helpful. Thank you. How do you get into airbrushing? What's a good starter kit? I mean, the easiest answer to that is go onto eBay. The one thing I would do is I would get the compressor with a tank and an included airbrush as your starter kit, because it's one of those things. The airbrush you can upgrade, and you can start with relatively decent entry points for the airbrush, but if you're going to sink your money into anything at the start, get the compressor with it, so you're not running out of canisters.
100% agree with that. Yeah, spot on.
So there's plenty of them on eBay. Just look for airbrush starter kits. You'll see the compressor with a little black 2-litre tank below it, and a lot of them are pretty much all exactly the same. They've just got loads of different names, but they're all, coming out of the same place. So, and they're all, just get yourself a 0.3mm brush with it, because that's a 0.3 is a good all-rounder. You can base coat with that, and you can attempt some of the fine work with it, particularly if you're thin your paints correctly, because that's what that fine work is all about. A lot of people think you need a fine needle. You don't. You just need really good control over your paint.
Yeah, thinning your paints is the big part of the airbrushing. If you get the paint right, you'll go a lot further with it than you would getting like a decent airbrush in that, because you can even have spend thousands on an airbrush and a compressor. If you get your paint wrong, it's still not going to work.
I've been filming a series of sort of airbrush tutorials and those kind of things, Sam, and obviously we'll push on and get the editing done on those and get some of those out to the group as well. So we'll get those done as soon as possible. But there's a
lot of editing, and there's a lot
of editing. Yeah,
Rachel's. We were talking about doing the battle report for the game that me and Rachel had, which normally goes up on a Sunday on YouTube. So every 2 weeks we do one battle report on YouTube, one on the website, but we have tried something different. If you go on over to the website now, you can actually see the battle report, which is not going up on YouTube until Sunday. So if anybody does want to go and see it early, it's a really good one of Rachel being a cheat or try. I'm just going to highlight this. that I was being really nice in this game, and Rachel was just nasty all the way through. We've got some bloopers actually, which highlight the cheating even more. But if you wanted to see this battle report, it's Seraphon, Rachel's Seraphon army versus my Iron Jaws, and it's up on the website and it's on the main page. You can go to the Age of Sigmar channel with battle reports and you can see it early. And you can make a free account as well, because if you sign up for the free account, you'll get access to more videos anyway. But that's not out till Sunday. So if people like getting a little some things earlier, we'll put it up earlier. Rachel's, I'm glad you're over it. I am definitely not over it, Rachel. We're going to have a rematch. I just wanted to chuck that in there. Let's go through some more of these. There's a lot of stuff here about airbrushing. Phil will definitely, I'm going to poke him with a stick until he finishes editing all of his airbrushing tutorials, because he does a lot of it and he knows what he's talking about. He just doesn't have the time to edit. The easiest, Russell, the easiest answer to painting and airbrushing is find a friend with which to paint. Even if both of you don't know what you're doing, you will figure it out. Same goes for painting. So that's what Tattoo was saying. You never know, Rachel. You could try it and you could be better than Sam and the next Golden Demon winner. Just paint. It's better to try and paint and always have room to improve than just have blank armies on the table every single time. It's better to try stuff. And one thing we always talk about hobby motivation and ways that you can keep doing stuff, and sitting on these hobby chats or just listening to YouTube videos while you're painting is another way to just get loads of painting done without realizing it.
Can we just say before we move on as well, we've talked a lot about airbrushing, and I just saw a quite Wargaming Wizard. I paint by hand and prefer it, but I'm old school. That's the thing. There's loads of hand painting techniques, and at the end of the day, as you've proven, Sam, I think you painted. What were you working on the other day on the hobby hangout? It was a Seraphim, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you just nailed that. There's like an hour's worth of footage and it just got down. And a lot of that, I think, is about getting the right consistency on the paint again, like airbrushing, because your paint was just flowing on the model.
Yeah.
If it's, not too runny so it's going everywhere, but not kind of so you're having to push a thick paint around. Really makes a big difference.
The thing is, you can speed up your painting armies with certain methods. So one thing that helps with me is I get all my bases out the way and I do all my bases in one go. I'll do an army's worth of bases and it will take me 2 days maximum to get them all done, and I can do a load of them. I'll put them to one side and all of my other models will be put onto cork, and I'll do them in 10-man blocks, and I'll just batch all of the base colours out, then do all the washes, then do all the highlights, and then they're done.
Yep.
And I'll do that every unit at a time. And one thing I try to do is, say I'm doing 30k or 40k, I'll get a 1,000-point army block and I'll do all of that before I then do the varnishing and stick them to the bases, and that way I've got a block done, and then I'll move on to something different. So that's how I do my armies as quickly as I can, without an airbrush. That's hand painting it all, and also not necessarily worrying about the quality. So only doing the extra layers on the heroes and the characters, and doing a minimum tabletop standard on the rest of them. That speeds it up as well.
Yeah. It's whatever you're happy with, isn't it? It's going back to that again. You're the only one that is the major critic of your army.
Yep.
So if you like it, who cares what anyone else thinks?
Your hobby, just enjoy it.
Yeah, your hobby, your models, do what you like. Paint them pink, I don't care.
Right, Mike's gone really quiet. Are you okay, Mike?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still breathing.
We did joke before we came online, didn't we, Mike, that he would pass away during the live stream, and if it went quiet we wouldn't know, and I've just genuinely got worried then, thinking, is Mike all right?
Well, I hadn't jumped in on this subject just because you know how bad I am when it comes to painting armies. It takes me forever, just because I always try to push more and more on what I'm doing on models rather than keeping it simple. So if I kept it simple and more basic, I could probably get armies done a hell of a lot quicker than what I do, instead of taking months for me to get a small force done.
That's cool. How many cork bases do you have? I buy cork on eBay, and Rachel drinks a lot. That's where I get my wine cork from.
just use sticks and drill some holes. That's what I do.
I like cork. My chubby fingers, I mean, I've got these, what are they called? Pigment pots as well. They're quite big for my hands, so I can get my hand around the base of that pot and just paint quite easily like that. So
No, I did really like what Phil's got his model standing on. I might have to invest in one of those.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're brilliant.
They're nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
They're
nice.
expensive. Like I say, I'll do like 50 models all on cork, so that would be expensive if I had 50 of them. Let's go on to another. We've got 2 more questions that I want to cover. So quite a big one here actually is the best 8th edition for 40k. The best army. Sorry, what am I on about? The best 8th edition for 40k. The best army for the new rules, 8th edition. And now, obviously, we don't know any final rules. This is just going off what we predict will be the best 8th edition. So none of this is going to be definite. Obviously, it's not going to be definite when the rules come out. But what do we think will be the best one in terms of the rule changes? Or even what do we wish will be the best? Not even thinking about rules. I think that's what I'm going to go on. So, James, you've got an idea. So do you want to start with you?
Tyranids.
Yeah.
Tyranids are going to be insane. If you got the, if they're bringing in the movement mechanic, they're going to move faster than anyone. And then if you assault first when you charge, they're just going to butcher everyone.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be really good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think I'd add orcs to that for the same reason.
Yeah, they'd be the same.
And there was a rumor about being able to assault out of vehicles again, you know, the sort of not needing to, so all the vehicles are assault vehicles. So you put orcs and just rampage them across the battle wagons and stuff. You know, and wouldn't it be great if they did that, to see basically the 2 worst performing armies of the latest meta, you know, orcs and Tyranids, who've just had a terrible time for quite a while now, just to see them just to go to the top of the pile for a while would be ace.
Drop one army is going to be insane.
Well, this is what I was thinking. Maybe because everything I think will be reset when the rules get released. So I think right now you're going, yeah, the combat armies are going to be really powerful with that rule set changing. But also they might just balance it so everything is very equal. So shooting armies will be as good as combat armies. You're not going to have that one-sidedness.
Well, that's going to be the interesting thing is all these powerful armies. So Eldar, for example, is how much will they be pegged back to be on level with everybody else? Because that's been the biggest issue for a while now, especially on the tournament scene. Is you've got 2 or 3 armies that you constantly see there. So it will be nice to see if everything is on a sort of even playing field. Because that then may be a case of when people are picking up new armies, is that you're seeing a lot better variety on armies rather than always the same armies
and the same list as well.
Yeah,
or similar list. I think that's the thing that I'm, rather than picking an army, I'm doing the opposite of this for the question. I am hoping that the rules are going to be balanced to the point where Games Workshop will just sell everything, and I think that's the way they could be looking at it, where they're not selling certain armies and they've got these amazing beautiful ranges of kits that if they balanced all of the armies to a decent level, they would sell everything rather than just one thing, rather than just selling Tattoos just said Ultramarines, Ultra Smurfs. Why don't just sell Space Marines and then go into Horus Heresy because everybody loves Space Marines so much? We've got Orcs, we've got Tyranids, we've got Dark Eldar, all these other armies that need a little bit of love. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen with 8th edition, and they're all going to be contenders to be the best armies in 8th edition.
Well, because that was the thing, was that people were put off by going for some armies because they just weren't usable. Even if they liked them, even if they liked the models, they're not going to do anything game. I'm just going to leave it.
Yeah,
that's what happened
about
with
Heresy.
Sigmar.
I'm just worried what's going to happen to the Heresy, because obviously we play a lot of Heresy, so.
Yeah, they may end up keeping the rules for 30k as they are, or they might switch them. They might look at how it goes. I don't know if they're going to switch both systems straight away and go, this is the rule that we're going to go with. They did Age of Sigmar as a test, it worked. They might do 40k and see how that goes. And if everybody does embrace it and like it, they might switch 30k after that. We don't know, but I think whatever works, they'll go with. They're not just going to switch them both.
Can I add something?
Yes, go for it, Phil.
What happens if the new army was an army that we've not seen yet? What happens if they use it as an opportunity to introduce a completely new faction? How cool would that be?
They can do this quite easily now, can't they, if they balance everything?
What do you think to today's rumor engine? Did you see that, Sam? Did you see it? It's this, this creature with, on one side of the body alone, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 legs on one side of the body. Looks a bit sluggish.
No, I haven't seen this.
Possibly a Nurgle model, but when I saw it, the legs looked like the legs of a Zote. Does anybody remember Zotes, or are you all too young to remember Zotes?
I remember.
You remember Zotes? And I just thought, oh, are they bringing some kind of new reimagined Zote back, which would be amazing. I don't think it's going to be. It's probably some kind of weird Nurgly beast or something. But
it's like when I saw it, I wasn't sure if it could be a Nid. Just because
Nids have only got but Nids have only got 6 limbs. They only ever have 6 limbs, so 3 on each side. So this thing's got 5 limbs just on one side.
I've not seen this model, so I can't comment.
There's a lot of answers in here, actually. You're going to go down these before we go on, but
sure.
Orcs will Green Stuff Games. Orcs will eat Tau in 8th. We will see. 40k from Cyril. Warhammer 40k now brought to you by Hasbro. Steve put, I thought that said Haribo. Wonderful. And Rachel's put 40k. It's delicious. Yeah, it works, Steve.
World Tattoo wants squats back. Yeah, with the Caradon release coming out anytime now, it's
stick some bolt guns on him. You got squats.
Oh,
yeah.
What else have we got? We have. There's just loads of people chatting. Wargaming Wizards off to watch Kong. Looks quite good. I want to watch that. Don't know if it's as good as Wargamer Online, but we'll see.
We all want squats.
This is
squats,
recorded.
Squats.
Okay.
Had Necron. Yeah, Necrons, that'd be interesting. We're not really talking. I mean, that's the thing, is obviously this big drive at the moment is all about chaos. So are they going to bring in some of the Xenos, maybe? Or are we going to see them work through the chaos factions and follow that sort of new crusade to its end? Who knows?
I've caught up with what you were saying before about that rumour mill thing. Is that the thing with chains on it? Is that what you're on about? It's got multiple arms and chains.
No, it's got like 5 legs. It's on the rumour engine, April the 12th. It went up today, and it says, what in the realms/galaxy could this be?
Could it be a new Tyrannid?
No, there's too much. Well, we sort of covered that. I think there's too many. Oh, you were joking.
No. It's just the way you shook me down. Could it be a Tyrannid? No.
No,
because we'd already. I already suggested that.
And we'd already had that conversation. So, Sam, you know that other chat where you had a go at me for not listening to you? I mean,
No. I've got a lot going off in my mind at the minute.
I've messaged you a link, Sam, and if you look at your messenger, you'll see the image, and maybe you can get it up on screen. Maybe we should just talk about that, because it doesn't match. Really, it doesn't match the aesthetic of anything. If it's anything, it's Nurgle. But it just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
Getting Facebook noises now. Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's get it up on screen.
Yeah, I've not seen it yet.
Foul monstrosity. I mean, this is quite filthy looking.
I'll just say see you to Green Stuff Game. See you later. Thanks for joining.
Look at that.
Russell Higgins is saying Zotes. Yeah, I mean, I know Zotes had 6 legs, by the way, for anybody who's about to correct me, but maybe they are reimagined Zotes, some kind of new. It'd be cool, wouldn't it? Do we need a new faction?
Yeah.
We do.
It's not saying Alice in Wonderland.
Right, let's go on. We've got one more question because we're coming up to an hour. We are on an hour with the countdown. Let's do the last question. Let us know in the comments below after this goes through what you think this will be. Let's have the predictions and see who got it right on the comments afterwards. So we'll close that. Goodbye, whatever you are. And we will go on to our last question, which is from Clayton Biber. This is, what is your favourite Eldar warrior, Eldar aspect warrior, but based on fluff and story-wise, rather than rules or anything like that? We'll start with Phil, because he is the Eldar man. Phil is the Eldar man. He comes from world.
He said based on fluff, so I'm going to cheat a little bit here, because when you think about aspect warriors, you think about striking scorpions, dire avengers, dark reapers.
Yeah, aspect warriors. Yeah. What are you going to do?
Aspect warriors. I've expanded the question a little bit to what's my favourite Eldar path, because they are all paths. That's the path of the warrior.
But it's not an aspect. Go on then.
I'm really cheating. Sammy just gonna. So I'm going to choose Howling Banshees. Because I've had to change my mind, because I've realised actually I can't get away with saying Farseers. I like the path of the sea.
Whoa. You were gonna use Farseers as your aspect. You're Eldar man, and you were going to pick a Farseer as your aspect.
I was going to choose that path because, from a fluff point of view, I really like it when they sort of open their psychic abilities up. That's what I really like about it. And in particular, I was going to choose Warlocks, the ones that have to put themselves in combat with open minds. I like that in the fluff. So warlocks do go into combat. I'd argue they are an aspect.
Let's just talk about them then. Let's go on about why you love warlocks.
It's the challenge, the whole idea that Eldar spend their entire lives repressing themselves with their paths. It's all about control, either emotional control or skill control or muscle control. So you get all sorts of paths. You've got the path of the artist, the path of servitude, and all those kind of things. I love all that in the fluff, that they all play a different role in society for sometimes up to hundreds of years at a time. And the idea of the warlocks that, after spending their entire lives to a degree trying to repress their psychic abilities and avoid engaging that side of themselves, have to embrace that. And not only do they do that, they then put themselves in situations of stress like combat. So any time there's 3 fantastic books out there, the Path of the Seer, the Path of the Warrior, and the Path of the...
Carpenter.
No, it's the Outcast, which is covering the Corsair type ones. But the Path of the Seer is just such a solid book. It's amazing. In fact, all 3 of those books are absolutely amazing. But I really like the Seer one. There's a brilliant scene, Sam. You'd love it. Spoilers. It's not quite spoilers.
No spoilers.
Warlocks. It tells the story of a battle from the perspective of 3 different paths, basically, and each book starts with the same timeline. And there's a brilliant scene where warlocks are in a building, an imperial building, and they're all stood around. And there's a warlock with them and a whole bunch of dire Avengers, and there's a big hole in the ceiling. And the warlock just sees that split second into the future and sees this sort of enemy jumping down through the hole in the ceiling, and just instructs the dire Avengers to just start shooting in thin-air. So they lift their guns and just start shooting, and then that torn apart carcass just falls through the hole. They were shooting before they even decided to jump down through the hole. It's just fantastic. So I love that. It's great stuff.
What you've just kind of explained to me is that the Eldar path system is very much like James has got some sort of banging. It's not happy.
Yeah, they're. I think my dad's moving something out in the garden. So
building an extension on the shed.
I love how upset Sam gets about external sounds. James, can you ask your dad to be quiet, please?
James, can you get out on that motorway and stop him driving, please? Right, so Eldar have got paths, which are basically jobs. So rather than saying he's an artist, you just go, he's following the path of the artist. Rather than saying he's a soldier, he's a path of the warrior or whatever. That's effectively what the Eldar society has got. They've got jobs, but they've got a fancy name for it.
Yeah, it's like a job distribution scheme.
And when they change path, it just means they're not happy with painting, so they go off and become a soldier for a bit.
Yeah. Okay, then let's simplify it down to essentially it's a job opportunity.
Yeah.
Center. That's what they do.
I can understand that. That's fine. Right. Now that we've gone off topic from aspects, Mike, tell us what your favourite aspect is.
It was difficult to choose because there's so many and they're all nice. But I went with Sweeping Hawks.
Yes.
Because if you imagine it, you're on a battlefield and then there's just a big shadow of death coming across the battlefield, and then there's these things in the sky, long rifles, wings flapping. It's terrifying when you think about it. So that's why I went with them.
Or the opposite. You see some flapping little birds in the sky. Oh, yeah. And you go, look at that flying over there. Shoot that, Barry. Well, Barry, get your sniper rifle. That's it. Well done. And the second one.
Sam, I can't wait for your aspect choice. I'm really going to enjoy it.
So that was me. I was keeping it short anyway.
James.
Striking Scorpions.
Oh, wow. Striking Scorpions. Why would you do that? They've just got like swords and funny helmets.
No, I just love the whole idea that they charge in with many blasters shooting and just jump out. It's like they jump out from behind the curtain and stab you.
Yeah, striking scorpions hide behind curtains. That's definitely a look.
I do like how there's this token curtain in every room. Like if you're a space marine, you go into a room and you're like, watch out for that curtain. There's going to be a scorpion behind there.
They're like full-length green velvet curtains. Yeah. You want to watch behind those things.
They are kind of like Predator, though, aren't they? In Eldar armies.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone's going to model one now as a predator.
That the book series I talked about, The Path of the Warrior, actually covers striking scorpions, and they're amazing. The sort of jungle warfare combat, just great fun. Love it.
Martin Dix has joined us. We've got quite a lot of people joining us actually.
Blams has just said tank deployed curtains.
Yeah, this isn't like warp spiders. They don't come out of the warp. They just come out of furniture.
From behind the curtain.
Dance Macabre has joined.
What I've got is tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be.
You've just summed up Eldar. I'm not going to slag them off. I'm only doing it because of the Phil's favourite and Mike's favourite, so that's why I like bullying them. I don't even know if I want to say what my favourite aspect is, Phil.
Go on, Sam, do it.
No, I don't want to because you might bully me.
No, I'm sure it's a good choice. It'll be a brilliant choice, Sam. Just say it, Sam.
Dark Reapers.
As long as it's not Reapers. Oh, sorry. Carry on.
Dark Reapers are awesome. They've got Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman. Imagine him having the voice of Morgan Freeman.
I'm going to shoot my missile.
That just makes them even better in my eyes, actually. So I've got Morgan Freeman with like a really cool outfit. He's got a massive rifle that's designed to just kill everything. The Dark Reapers just look cool. If I could do an army of them, I would definitely do it. But I don't think you can you?
Yes, yeah. If you want, I mean, you could certainly do a couple of aspect hosts, so you could have up to 6 units of those things wandering around, if not more. So
10 in a unit,
and that would
5.
You can go up to 10. Yeah, I mean that would be. I mean that's heavy points though. They're about the most expensive aspect warrior. I think they're about 33 points each, something like that, if I remember rightly. So yeah, that would add up quite a bit.
I could do an army based on them and have everything else with like skulls and bones and stuff though.
You'd like them, Sam, as well, because they're you know, when they're in the, you know, like I say, they're in that book, the 3 path books, which cover pretty much most of Eldar society. There's a group of Dark Reapers in that, and they really are the party poopers of the Eldar. They just walk around in a bit of a bad mood. And a lot of them refuse to take their helmets off and stuff like that. So, you know, they just sit down at a table and kind of glare at everybody. So you'd love them.
Why would I love them? What are you getting at?
No, I just think, you know, you'd appreciate that, Sam. I'm not saying anything about you and your nature or anything.
And we're there. We're there again. It's the start of a week for the live chats, and we're already there, 1 hour in.
1 hour in, I don't think we did too bad.
No, you did good. Holding off until then. All right, I think we're done. I think we're done on questions for this evening. Because if we do any more, it's just going to get worse. No, it's fine. Right, let's wrap up. Thank you everybody who has joined us in the chat. There's a lot more of you joining towards the end. I'm wondering whether we just move this back a bit. We'll have to see. Leave in the comments below if you're watching this back and you would, or if you're watching this now and you think 8 o'clock UK time is a perfect time to do some wargaming streaming, then let us know, or whether you think 9 o'clock would be a better time or whatever. We'll try and get the best time for everybody, really. Thank you for James joining us from Without a Clue.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's been brilliant.
It's been fun. Mastodons.
Thanks, James.
Mastodons, brilliant.
Mastodons.
Thanks to Phil for joining.
Bye, everyone.
For the bullying. Thank you to Mike.
I like Sam, really. We're like best buddies, really.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you like the video, or you like joining in on these things, just stick the thumbs up on the video, on the YouTube video. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and actually thank you to everyone who has subscribed. We did another giveaway yesterday, and we're going to do another one at 7:50, aren't we? As well as
you're smashing it at the minute.
We've got loads of people tuning in. We've got loads more content. I'm sitting on content on YouTube now, just waiting for when I can press a button and release it. But we don't want to chuck it all out too quickly because It does take a long time to do. So.
Then we'd have to do a load more.
I've got to do more, and I'm already not sleeping and not seeing Rachel, and it's not nice. I want to spend some time with Rachel. Head on over to the website wargameronline.com. Like I say, you can see videos earlier. If people do like this early access sort of thing, we'll do it more regularly with more videos. Subscribe. Make a free account on the website because it is free, and a lot more people are joining the premium subscription as well, which is helping us out massively. Because we're looking at now, we're doing a lot of stuff now, aren't we, on planning side of things, Phil?
Yeah, we're looking at a whole bunch of stuff. I think we're going to pop a couple of videos up, aren't we, in the next couple of weeks, which will talk about where we're going with the website, where we're going with Wargamer Online, what we want to achieve. We've invested, haven't we, a bunch of money just recently on better microphones and things like that. So we're trying to improve the quality of everything. It's exciting times, but please do, first and foremost, thanks to everybody who is supporting us, because that is enabling us to continue at the pace we're continuing and invest back into Wargamer Online to make it the best possible we can make it. So thanks to everyone.
Okay, on that one, we will see you all. Me and Mike are going to do our live hobby session on Friday evening. It will be, I believe, at 8 o'clock again. If there's any changes, we'll let you know. But 8 o'clock this Friday, we'll be working. I'll be working on my Sigmar Showdown model. Mike, you may even be working on yours by then.
Quite possibly, yeah. That, or I'll be on my Skaven again.
Yeah. And we'll be back on next Wednesday, as always, with our live show. So tune in on Friday, and otherwise check out the videos. And thank you for joining. We'll see you all soon.
See you later, everyone.
Bye all.
See ya.
Bye-bye.